Hello students, let us see this problem from Pathfinder Physics from chapter Optics. And if you haven't given this question a try, you can pause here and give this question a try. And if you have given this question a try and you are here for the solution part, so the question here entails one specific thing for which we are going to use a special result, and that result will be specifically very useful whenever you encounter a situation when the medium's refractive index is changing, but the change is spherically symmetrical, right? So in this case also the refractive index is directly proportional to distance r from the center point O here, right? So this is a case of a spherically symmetrical refractive index of the medium. In this case, you have to determine the closest distance of approach of this laser beam or light ray, whatever you want to call this, uh, from the center point O here. Not from the center point, but from the surface of this smaller sphere of radius capital R, right? So what we first want to do is we want to determine a result for uh, Snell's law, or a kind of variation for the of the Snell's law that will be used in this case, right? So first of all, let's go back to the basics and just see the Snell's law in a different perspective, in a different light, for which we already know the result, right? So let's say we have these two mediums, right? And at one particular medium boundary, a light ray goes making angle theta. The angle of incidence here is theta and refractive index is mu. And you already probably know this result, that if we encounter such parallel slabs of different refractive index, you can say that mu into sine theta will be constant for any of these slabs, right? Whether it is for this first part here, or if you want to go here, let's say here the angle is alpha and refractive index is, let's say, mu dash. Mu dash into sine alpha will also be equal to mu into sine theta. We already know that, and for that we will generally use the result of simple Snell's law. That will be valid here. But what if I want to tell you that Snell's law can also be understood in terms of the momentum conservation, right? So the light here can also be treated as photons, or the array of photons, right? So let's just talk about one single photon that was going in this original direction, and and after the refraction it bends its direction, it changes its direction into this direction. And what is happening here at the medium boundary, that you can consider a kind of force that is acting on this photon, and the force that will be acting on the photon will be perpendicular to the medium boundary, right? So we have a medium boundary, that is this horizontal line here, and perpendicular to this line, the black line here, the black thick line here, the force will be acting along this line, right? So we can see say here that along this red line, since there is no force acting, the momentum of the photons will be same, right? So if we just take the component, let's say the momentum of the photon at this side here, at this side, is small p, the linear momentum is small p. So p sine theta part, the one which is along this red line, will remain constant. And we can write the momentum p as energy divided by speed of this photon in this particular medium, right? So this E by V into sine theta will also remain constant, and the energy of the photons will not change because the frequency is going to remain same. So whatever is the medium, the energy is going to be same, but we can write here by definition V as C by mu. So of course C by mu and the C part and E part are also constant, so we can say that mu sine theta is constant. So The result is nothing new. We already know this result, but we have sort of, determined or, derived this result using the conservation of linear momentum. Now we are going to use another kind of thing, very similar thing, conservation. Using the conservation principle, we are going to derive the result for this spherically symmetrical body also, right? Or spherically symmetrical variation of refractive index also, right? So let's say we have a medium which is spherically symmetrical. The refractive index is spherically symmetrical. Let's say we have one medium boundary here. So this is the medium boundary I'm talking about, right? So the interface of these two spheres here. And since the force acting here at this interface, let's say the photon is going along this line, and after a refraction it goes along this line. Here on the inner side, the refractive index is mu, and angle of incidence with the radial line, is theta, right? And this distance from the center at the point of incidence is equal to r. So we can also say that since the force acting on the particle is going to be along this radial line, right, along the normal direction, along this radial line, the force will pass through this center point, and we can say that the net torque about the center point is going to be 0. That means the angular momentum will remain constant, right? And since the angular momentum is going to remain constant, we can say that the linear momentum multiplied by this perpendicular distance, the component of the linear momentum perpendicular to this r vector, that is going to be equal to p sine theta into r, is going to be equal to constant c. Again, we'll use the same thing here. P, that will be equal to E by V, and from here we are deriving a result for this spherically symmetrical case here, that mu multiplied by r into sine theta is going to remain constant whenever we encounter a situation when the change in refractive index is going to be spherically symmetrical. And after that part, this question is going to be very easy. We just have to just correlate with the situations that at this particular initial time the angle with the radial direction is theta, and of course this light ray or laser ray will go along this path. Whenever the distance is going to be minimum from the center, the distance from this surface is also going to be minimum, and at this particular distance from the center, this path direction or the velocity direction is going to be perpendicular to the radial direction, right? And we can just use this fact that mu r sine theta is going to be constant on any point of this path, right? So we'll just equate these 2 points. First point is the initial point here, that is the point P, and second point of course is here the point when the path is perpendicular to the radial direction. And since mu is directly proportional to r, we can say that mu is equal to kr. So of course, instead of writing mu r sine theta to be constant, we can just use the value of mu as kr, and r square into sine theta will be equal to constant. And using just that, for the initial value, r naught square into sine 30 degree will be equal to r minimum square into sine 90 degree. From here, we'll just use put the values that was given. R naught will be equal to 50 centimeter, and the height from the surface, this height h will be equal to r minimum minus capital R, that is going to be equal to 40 centimeter. So this is the answer for this question. I hope you like this solution.